Hello, everyone, and welcome to this first lecture on the introduction to moral philosophy. So, today we'll try to learn some of the basics, some of the things that are included in the domain or in the subject called moral philosophy. So, before beginning, let's ask ourselves this simple question. Very often, we see that when you say something or someone is ethical, what do you really mean? Okay, so basically when you look at a question like this, we'll get various kind of answers. Some will say that being ethical is to be honest, or it is to be good or to be fair, doing the right thing, to be kind, and also following rules, principles, and other regulations. Now, all this is very interesting. And when we basically say that being ethical is to be honest or it is good or fair, we are all pointing out to certain qualities of a person, that is, honesty, fairness, or goodness. Now, that's exactly where the word ethics comes from. It's about the kind of person we are, not just about isolated actions. So, the word ethics, we need to now go to the origin, and we see that the word ethics basically comes from the Greek word ethos, which means character, custom, or habit. So when we say someone is ethical, we are actually describing the kind of character or the kind of moral fiber that the person has. So it's either the character or the moral fiber of the person. Now, with this, we basically come to know that ethics is not merely about rules or laws, but it is about the formation of a good character. Now, and therefore, we see that when we say that ethics is formation of a good character, what is required is a steady disposition to act rightly. And that is what ethics is about. It's a steady disposition to act in the right manner. Now, one of the questions we may ask, how do we distinguish character from action? Let's take an example. Supposing we say that a student finds a lost wallet in the classroom. An ethical person doesn't return the wallet only because someone is watching or because there's a rule about it. They return because honesty is part of their character. So it's not who they are, it's more of what they are made up of. So it is not something that they would just do in one instance. That means, okay, today the person does something good and tomorrow he acts badly. We cannot say that the person is acting ethically or he is an ethical person. So there should be some kind of consistency in the act of a person in order to call him an ethical person. So therefore, as the person or as the student has now returned the wallet, we see that the act of returning the wallet is itself moral. Okay, and therefore the habit, okay, or the disposition of doing something right even when nobody is watching you, that is ethical character. So that habit or disposition of doing what's right even when nobody's watching you, that is what we'll call as the ethical character. So in other words, we see that ethics is about the consistency of goodness. Okay, when good actions spring naturally from the heart. So therefore we see that this habit or disposition forms part of your ethical character. It is the ethical character. Now, ethics is more than just obedience. Okay, so ethics is not about obeying rules blindly. It's also about understanding why something is right or wrong. For example, a person may obey traffic rules only when a police officer is present. Now, that is not ethical, or that does not make him an ethical person. Neither is that ethics. Why? Because he's doing it because of the fear of punishment. But if there is someone who follows the rules even when no one is watching, out of concern for others, if he breaks the rules, he could cause injury or harm to others. If he is doing something, or if he is following the rules out of concern for others, now that is ethical behavior. Now, we see that ethics involves inner conviction. So, it is not just any external compliance. Okay, so let's take another example. Imagine there are two doctors. So, there is Dr. A over here and Dr. B. So, both of them save lives, but Dr. A does it, you know, purely for fame or money. Okay, so the intention is money, whereas Dr. B does it because they truly value human life. Okay, and they also have compassion for the others. Now we see that the outward actions are the same, both are doctors, both are treating patients, but ethically they are different. So this basically shows us that ethics is concerned with the motives and the intention. It's not just with the results. Both may be saving lives, but one may be saving life just for the sake of money. Okay, that means if suppose somebody is not paying, he may be reluctant to conduct the operation or to treat the patient, whereas Dr. B here is doing it purely out of love for human life. So whatever may be the circumstances or the situations, she will definitely do her duty. Now, ethics is a reflection on human life. So, ethics, we can say, is the study of human behavior from the point of view of what is right or wrong, good or bad, just or unjust. But it looks deeper into why we consider them so. So, basically, why is something wrong, why is something right, or why is something good, or why is something bad? So, we see that ethics invites us to reflect on why we act the way we do. Okay, so it also makes us think of what kind of persons we become through our choices, and also what makes life truly good and meaningful. Now, as we have seen a little bit about ethics and what merely it is concerned about, let's try to link this to Aristotle's view. Now, Aristotle, one of the earliest thinkers to study ethics systematically, called it as the science of character. Now, he believed that ethics is about forming good habits that shape the person's moral nature. Now, for Aristotle, we become just by doing just acts, we become brave by doing brave acts, and we become temperate by practicing moderation. Now, think of learning a musical instrument. How do we become good at either playing the guitar or playing the keyboard. It is only through repeated practice. So, in the same way, Aristotle will say that you become ethical by repeatedly choosing what is right until it becomes your second nature. So, whatever we do, whatever choices we make, okay, that in a way, when we do it repeatedly, it becomes a second nature. For example, if we think of only doing good, okay, and suppose somebody has an accident on the road, or suppose somebody falls down, now we'll immediately go and help that person. Why? Because since we have been doing it consistently, it has become a second nature. So hence he will say that ethics concerns the cultivation of virtue, that is the stable habits that make us good human beings. Now, how can we relate this to our everyday life? So ethics is not something that is, far away in textbooks or in philosophy journals. It's about how we behave in the canteen, or how we treat our classmates, or how we speak to our parents, and how we respond when no one is watching. Okay, are we doing things only to please our authority? Are we doing something only to please somebody else? Or are we doing it because we really want to do it? So that is actually what ethics will concern itself about. So we can say that ethics is, in a way, lived philosophy. It is about who you are becoming through your choices. So therefore, this we will see in the future classes also, that becoming and choices are very much related. It is our choices that in a way influence who we become. So when we call someone ethical, we are not just saying they do good things, we are saying that they are good people. Their goodness is not an occasional act, but it is a way of life. So, ethics helps us to understand what it means to be human, how to live well, and how to build a life of integrity and virtue. So, this is for a small intro on what is ethics, or an introduction to moral philosophy. Next time around, we'll take a look at the etymology of ethics and morality, and then we'll head on to the branches and the nature of ethics. So, till then, keep watching and keep forming a good character.